Raquel Welch was known all around the world as a gorgeous, fierce actress who was a huge star in Hollywood for many, many years. She was famous for being super confident, powerful, and unbelievably charming. Most people thought she was so strong that nothing could shake her. They figured no one could make her nervous or flustered. But when she was 82 years old, she finally told everyone about the 5 men she had the biggest crushes on during her career. And when people heard the names, they were totally shocked and surprised. These weren't just small, silly crushes like you might have on someone at school. These were deep, powerful feelings that made her heart race and even messed up her acting when she was trying to film movie scenes. And once you hear who the first guy is, you'll totally get why she kept these crushes a secret for such a long, long time. Frank Sinatra, the man who made her lose her cool. Right at the very top of Raquel Welch's list is the man she said she was more attracted to than anyone else in the entire world, Frank Sinatra. He was the only person who could completely mess up her calm, cool attitude with just one smooth, planned move. Their big moment together happened at a fancy charity party in Beverly Hills in 1973. Raquel thought it would just be another regular night of photographers taking pictures, people drinking champagne, and everyone making polite, boring conversation. But the second Frank Sinatra walked up to her, everything changed completely. He said hello to her in a way he only greeted a few special women. He gently placed one hand on the lower part of her back and guided her through the crowded room while he leaned in super close to whisper something that only she could hear. Raquel admitted later that she felt butterflies in her stomach the moment he touched her. He touched you like he'd known you your whole life, she remembered. It wasn't creepy or too forward, it was just incredibly, impossibly confident. And that confidence is exactly why Sinatra became the man she put at the #1 spot on her list. He didn't flirt in a loud, obvious way. He didn't show off or brag about himself. And he definitely didn't chase after women desperately. Frank simply showed up to a place, and you could feel the whole atmosphere in the room change around him. Raquel always said she could sense his presence and feel him nearby even before she actually saw him walk in. Throughout the whole night at that party, he kept finding little reasons and excuses to stay close to her. He would adjust the chair behind her so she'd be comfortable. He'd brush away a loose curl of hair from her shoulder. He'd rest his hand on her arm when he was telling her a funny joke. These tiny touches were so small that almost no one else even noticed them happening, but they made Raquel's determination to stay cool just melt away completely. She admitted that every single time he leaned in close to her, she totally forgot what she had been planning to say next. She loved that Sinatra didn't need to put on a big show or performance like other men did. His charm and magnetism were like a powerful weapon that he controlled perfectly and effortlessly. And Raquel, who was a woman who really prided herself on always staying professional and in control, confessed privately to friends that Frank was the only man who ever made her think to herself, "If he asked me to run away with him for a weekend, I wouldn't say no." That dangerous possibility was the scary part. That was the exciting, thrilling part. And that's exactly why Sinatra became her #1 crush of all time. Clint Eastwood, the quiet guy she couldn't stop thinking about. Landing firmly in the #2 spot on her list, and surprising even her closest friends who thought they knew everything about her, is Clint Eastwood. He was the man Raquel Welch admitted she felt an instant, strong physical attraction to the very first time they acted together in the same scene. Their chemistry and connection didn't start with joking around or flirting with words. It all began with a single, unforgettable moment on a movie sound stage in the early 1970s, when Clint walked toward her during a lighting test before filming. Raquel expected him to adjust the camera angle or ask her to move and give him more space. Instead, he reached out with just 2 fingers and very gently lifted her chin up, turning her face toward the main stage light. It was barely even a touch, more like a soft graze along her jawline, but it sent such a sharp jolt of electricity through her body that she completely forgot to breathe for a second. As she described it later, Clint didn't touch people often, but when he did, every single inch of you noticed it. That was the dangerous part about him. Clint didn't chase after women, He didn't even give out compliments very much. His power and appeal came from that impossible calmness he had. It was in the way he would watch her in total. A complete silence before finally delivering a soft, almost reluctant smile. Raquel once admitted she felt pulled toward him the same way heat gets pulled toward cold metal, like a magnetic force she couldn't control. When they were on set filming, Clint had this habit of standing close enough to her that she could feel his warm breath on her shoulder, but still far enough away that nothing inappropriate could be said out loud or pointed out. He would say short lines in a whisper like "you're doing good today" or "that's the perfect take," but in a tone so low and intimate that Raquel felt it tingle in her spine more than she actually heard it in her ears. Clint's attractiveness was raw, quiet, and very deliberate and purposeful. It was a kind of masculine self-control and restraint that made Raquel feel young, reckless, and tempted in a way she never, ever expected to feel. He never pushed past the boundary or crossed any lines. And that was exactly, precisely why she secretly wanted him to. The fact that he held back made her want him even more. Burt Reynolds, the co-star who made her break character. If you're wondering who Raquel Welch admitted was the most dangerously irresistible man I ever worked with in my entire career, that special honor sits at number 3 on her list. And yes, it's Burt Reynolds, the only co-star who ever made her break character and mess up her acting from pure, uncontrollable chemistry and attraction. Their spark and connection came from raw, explosive energy that you could practically see crackling between them. During the filming of a movie called 100 Rifles back in 1969, Burt grabbed her around the waist during a stunt scene that was supposed to look carefully planned out and choreographed. But instead of the light, staged pull that the director expected to see, Burt yanked her hard against his chest with full force, shielding and protecting her with his body in a way that made the entire film crew freeze and stop moving for half a second. Raquel didn't try to hide what happened to her in that moment. She laughed out loud, her face turned bright red and flushed, her breathing became unsteady and quick. She later admitted that the moment felt way too natural. Way too natural, like it wasn't acting at all. Burt had this spark about him, she once said. You felt it and sensed it before he even touched you, and then you felt it twice as hard and strong when he finally did touch you. He was totally unpredictable and surprising. One minute he'd lean over and whisper a private joke into her ear so quietly that even the microphone couldn't pick it up and record it. The next minute he'd casually wrap an arm around her shoulders between takes like it was the most natural, normal thing in the whole world. Raquel confessed that she sometimes forgot where the scripted scene ended and where the real man began. It all blurred together. Directors had to yell "cut" and stop filming more than once because the chemistry between Raquel and Burt felt too playful, too alive, and too real. And that was the real danger with him. Burt made her want the thrill and excitement, not run away from it or avoid it. He brought out the version of Raquel that she tried hardest to keep hidden off camera, the impulsive, excited, and open side of her that wondered if one wrong move might actually feel totally right. Dean Martin, the gentle touch that melted her heart. No one expected Raquel Welch to put him in 4th place on her list, but she absolutely did. And when she talked about it, she said it with a big smile that completely gave away her true feelings. Dean Martin was the man who melted her heart in ways that even she didn't see coming or expect at all. Their special moment happened during a promotional photo shoot for a movie called Bandolero in 1968. Raquel had been standing and posing stiffly and uncomfortably for nearly a whole hour when Dean stepped up behind her, placed a warm hand on her shoulder, and gently guided her to move slightly closer to him for the perfect camera frame. But his hand didn't drop away immediately like it should have. It stayed there warm, steady, deliberate, just 1 second longer than what would be considered polite and appropriate. And that single extra second did way more damage to her composure and self-control than any bold, obvious move from other men who tried far, far harder to impress her. She remembered every tiny detail about that moment. The way his thumb brushed softly against the curve of her collarbone, the faint, pleasant smell of his cologne, the soft, quiet laugh he gave when he noticed she was blushing. Dean touched you like a perfect gentleman, Raquel said, but he looked at you like a man who wanted you. That combination was absolutely lethal and devastating. Dean Martin dissolved and broke down her defenses with charm that felt completely effortless and natural, almost dangerous in how genuine and sincere it seemed to be. He didn't tease her or make fun of her body language and reactions. Instead, he calmed them down. He invited her to stay close to him without even saying a single word out loud. Between takes during filming, Dean would rest his hand lightly on the small of her back, guiding her through crowded, busy sets with an ease and naturalness that made Raquel feel protected and safe rather than pressured or uncomfortable. She confessed to friends that she sometimes leaned into him without even thinking about it, drawn to the warmth he carried around with him like it was his second nature. He made her feel chosen and special, not chased after desperately. And for Raquel Welch, who had plenty of men chasing her, that quiet, subtle intimacy was a temptation all its own. It was a different kind of attraction that hit her in a deeper way. Paul Newman, the tender guy who surprised her most. Raquel Welch saved fifth place on her list for the man that absolutely no one would have guessed or predicted, because her attraction to Paul Newman wasn't loud, obvious, or dramatic at all. It was the quieter kind of crush that crept up on her slowly and hit her way harder than she ever admitted to anyone publicly. Their moment together happened during a rehearsal for a charity special performance in 1975. Raquel stumbled over a line in the script and started laughing it off, trying to play it cool. But Paul didn't tease her or make fun of her like other actors probably would have. Instead, he stepped closer to her, took the script pages right out of her hands, and let his fingers softly brush against hers as he did it. Raquel didn't pull her hand back quickly. She just stood there and felt her breath catch in her throat. Later on, she said, Paul didn't flirt with you. He made you feel chosen and special, like you were the only person in the room. It wasn't just the physical touch alone that got to her. It was how he touched her, gentle but deliberate and purposeful, warm but controlled, like he knew exactly what kind of effect he had on her and chose to use it carefully and sparingly, not all at once. There was nothing reckless, wild, or playfully silly about Paul Newman. He gave off a quiet, strong masculinity that made Raquel's pulse speed up and her heart race in ways she couldn't explain or put into words. Between rehearsals, Paul would lean in close to correct how she was reading a line, his voice soft and steady, his handsome face just inches away from hers. He'd place a hand on her forearm to get her attention, or rest his palm lightly on her back as he guided her toward the stage area. These gestures and touches were small and subtle. Nobody else probably even noticed them. But they filled Raquel with a warmth and feeling she really struggled to hide from everyone around her. Paul Newman stirred up something deeper inside her, a tenderness and gentleness she wasn't used to feeling, all wrapped up in his piercing, beautiful blue eyes and a sincerity that disarmed her and broke down her walls completely. He didn't make her lose control or act crazy. He made her want to lose control. And that particular kind of desire and longing was something Raquel Welch never, ever forgot, even decades later. So now that Raquel's long-kept secrets are finally out in the open for everyone to know, which of these 5 men surprised you the most? Tell me what you think in the comments down below. I'm really curious which name shocked you the same way it shocked everyone in Hollywood back then. And don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more untold stories and secrets from the golden age of cinema and classic movies.